Hey everybody, how's it going? We are here with a timeless reading. Before we get started, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with the highest good. Alright, we're starting off with the Three of Wands. And the Ace of Cups. I'm seeing you in the middle of something here, and I'm seeing somebody coming to speak with you, and it seems like it's about what you have going on. It feels like you are in the middle of something, like when this person comes through or when this information comes through. For most of you, it's going to be a person, but for others of you, it can be like a message of sorts that you're receiving, or like information that you come by. I'm seeing there be a conversation about trying to think of like how to make this as not confusing as possible, because I don't know which end of this you're on. For some of you, you're going to talk to somebody about like how you're not going to be doing something anymore, or how it's like not for you anymore. You feel like it's not really the right fit, or like this isn't working, or like I don't feel happy here, something like that. For others of you, you're getting this information. I'm hearing something about master numbers. You may be seeing repeated numbers. Yeah, normally I would say that like you're the one that's saying something to someone, and for like probably half of you, you're the one that's reaching out and being like, hey, this isn't working for me anymore, or like I don't want to do this, or I feel like my energy is better spent elsewhere. But I'm gonna just not pretend. I'm going to narrate from the person who's receiving this information. For some of you too, like this can all be you, where it's like you may have been in the middle of a process like planning for your future, and then you hear something and you're like, well, that's not going to work anymore, but what am I going to do now because I've spent this time doing it? But I try to make like the narration as not confusing as possible, especially when it like starts to include multiple people. Because for some of you, you're going through this on your own, and so you are these like multiple people or energies. But for others of you, this is playing out within a multi like interpersonal situation. So anyway, the person that's been like planning for their future over here and trying to wrangle something in, make something make sense, work on something. It's like because they had been planning for this and trying to make something work, they're feeling, I'm hearing for some of you, they feel shut down or can be feeling shut out. Again, it's interesting because I feel like we normally narrate from this other person's perspective, but I feel like we're being put over here to narrate, as this was the first energy that came out. Because I feel like you may be this person over here, but again, like you can be any of these energies, so less talking about it, more explaining what I'm seeing here. What I'm getting is that this person that's been like trying to make something work over here, they like get this information and they're like, Like, I was in the middle of trying to make this work. It's like when you're in the middle of a process and you get this news of like, oh, we're not going to be doing that project anymore. And you're like, but I've been spending time trying to make this work. And this person did genuinely feel connected to this too. Like, that was definitely part of the motivation for them. And now they're like, well, what do I do with this here? Because it's like just this Ace of Cups now. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? So this person could feel a bit, I can't do anything about that now, because I'm seeing they like get this information where this other person's like, hey, I'm not going to do this anymore, it's not working for me. And they're like, well, I've been trying to make this work, what do I do now? What do I do with myself now? What do I do with my time now? Like, what do I do with this? Like, what I thought was a viable connection, now I'm being told that's not really the case. So they're kind of just dealing with their own stuff. They were definitely banking on this. Like, I get the vibe of them feeling that, like, this was a sure thing and you're, like, coming to, like, disrupt them or to interrupt that. And that's not like, bad or good or anything like that. I'm just saying what I'm seeing here. But there's no, like, there's no value being assigned to this. We're just talking about things that are happening here. And kind of like shedding light on where this person is. But I'm getting that from like your end of things. You could have looked at this and been like, I feel like we're trying to make this work for the wrong reasons. Is the feeling, because it's like this person feels in their head because they were trying to make things work, and even though the Ace of Cups is here, so there is like, there's definitely a genuine connection, but what one may have been trying to make happen may have been for reasons other than it being, well, I don't know if we want to say that. There can be some reasons popping up why someone was trying to make things work, and maybe why both of you were trying to make things work before, and these reasons are connected with someone feeling like we need to be together because I'm not complete on my own, like that sort of thing. And that's why I'm seeing this person be a little bit, this person over here that's like, hey, I was in the middle of doing this. What do you mean you're leaving now? They're definitely connecting with you for reasons of feeling like this was like a safe bet for them. They do definitely, I don't know why we keep coming back to this. They do feel a genuine connection with you, and I'm seeing it goes both ways. Like, I'm seeing there be a genuine connection between the two of you. However, it feels like the Ace of Cups, rather than being explored, it was sort of like stowed away. So you could feel like there was potential between the two of you, but that it's sort of untapped, because I almost get something like, it's like you get this like brand new thing that you're really excited about, and rather than like using it or playing with it or like whatever you're meant to do with a new thing that you get, it was like kept like in the plastic and like shoved away in the closet, so like nobody could touch it or do anything to it, and it was like wasting away. Like, that's the vibe that I get from this, having the Ace of Cups and the Four of Pentacles here. It's like this thing that it's like, shouldn't we want to connect like to this thing, to use it, to like feel that mutuality? And instead it was like something that was like stored away or stowed away or saved away. And then it seems like it sort of turned into something more convoluted here, where it was like, what's even going on here? Like, why are we doing this? And it feels like something that had maybe what you saw as great potential then turned into this person not wanting to let it go because they're like, well, what am I going to do without you? And it's like, is that why we're together? Because we don't know what to do without each other? Or are we together because we have a connection here? But I'm getting something just has gotten like away from the point, it seems, between you and this person. And I'm getting like, you're the one that caught on to this. Like, we're only together for reasons that are other than like us being in love with one another, you know? It's stuff that maybe for you at this point you're like, this feels very superficial to me, or it feels like we need to take care of ourselves psychologically, or it feels like I'm sticking around because you're giving me validation that I'm not giving to myself. It's like something that like that you realized like we're not staying together because we're choosing to stay together out of an empowering situation. This is beginning to feel disempowering, and I know that because of like what this has turned into essentially and how I feel about that. And I'm getting you like don't want to be part of that any longer, because you know too that at the end of the day like it's never going to be enough. It will never ever be enough. Not having the devil here. So that's why I'm seeing you be in a spot where like devil and 8 of cups is like, I know, I recognize that it's not going to be what I need it to be, and that there's always that illusion that I can buy into when I want to, of like, let's pretend that it will be. And like you can sell me on that dream if I don't want to be honest with myself here. But you're at this point where you're like, I need to be honest with myself. I want to also read this as if it's like one person here going through a process too, because I'm seeing this can definitely be like all your energy and what's going on in your head. There's something that's like a connection that you've been working with, but it still almost feels like, have we even really broken ground here? And I'm seeing that there may have been like a conversation that you had or information that you came by that was like clarifying for you, that made you recognize within yourself this realization of, even though there is a genuine connection here, it's not going to be what I need it to be, especially not on an emotional level, on an intimate level, what I'm looking for. So even though there is a connection here, it's not, it's like 25% of what you're looking for. And it's like, well, what am I supposed to do with all that other like 75% that's just unfulfilled? And so I'm seeing you get to a spot where you're like, this isn't going to do it for me. Like, it's not going to work for me. And now you're at this point where you've like made this conclusion, but it seems like it only happens after you have like a clarifying conversation with somebody, or you come across like information, like something sparks this within you, like mentally, energetically, there's a spark. And then I'm seeing you be like, this is really going to be like challenging to walk away from and challenging to have a conversation. But I know that we're going to stay doing this unless I'm the one that initiates this conversation. But then I'm seeing you be like, feeling in your head about this, because I'm seeing it's like I had planned my future around this, and it feels like all of the expectations that were connected with this, of like we were supposed to be together forever, or I was supposed to be in this job forever, I thought I would be living here for a really long time. It's like all of those things that are kind of like not the point of why you'd be together with someone, unless you choose for that to be. But anyway, I'm seeing you mostly feel in your head about this because like maybe you've been working on this relationship or situation for a while. Maybe you've also planned a lot having to do with the future too. Like, we're supposed to go to Disneyland tomorrow. Like, how can I break up with them now? You know, stuff like that. Or like, we have this, and this together. There are like reasons, or I spent all of this energy and effort pouring into it just to call it quits. You know, like that sort of stuff where if you like really analyze this, you can think about it and be like, oh, like, is that the reason why I should stay in this? So I'm just seeing you go through this process of like having all of these thoughts come up of like all of the energy that I spent, and like I could have been with my friends last like holiday rather than with them. And it's like going through that whole thing of all of these thoughts popping up of like what all of this means. So it's just all of the processing thoughts, and it's also potentially letting go of something where you're like, there is still this like bit of potential, but I don't know if you've just been like telling yourself that, and like, is that actually true? Maybe you've tapped into all the potential that is there. I will say this, sometimes we end up, we find ourselves in a situation with someone where it's like, I'm staying with them because of the potential. Because even though they're not what I need them to be or what I want them to be or what I'm hoping for them to be, maybe tomorrow they will be, or maybe the next week, or maybe a year after this, or maybe they'll learn in 3 years, and we like stay in these relationships being like, it's the potential, it's the potential. But I'm seeing your guides be like, is that what you want to do? Like, if everything stayed between you and this person, if everything stayed exactly as it is right now, for always and ever, is that something that you want to make the choice to stay within? And you may really be analyzing your reasons, thinking about your reasons at this point for what's been keeping you around. And I'm seeing you get to this point where you're like, it's not going to be it for me. Again, coming back to the Devil and the Eight of Cups is like, if I want to be sold on that dream and buy into that illusion that maybe one day it's going to be, then I can convince myself to stay. But if I really want to be honest with myself here, if I really want to look at this and not look away, I know that there's nothing for me here any longer. I feel like you get that at this point, but I'm seeing this all has been, like, you may not have shared this with anyone yet. This may be just all what's sort of going on in your head and you haven't communicated this. Unless you have somebody that you're like super, super close with, it's like pretty much nobody else would know about this if you've told anybody at all. It's just like you and your guides know about this. I'm seeing you also trying to figure out, like, why do I feel so so in my head about this? And I'm seeing you also trying to like think about like, what also am I going to say here? Because it feels like for a long time even you've known that this is more of an empty situation for you than anything. Like, you don't feel that spark of connection in a very tangible way. It's like maybe you get glimpses of it, and that's also what's sort of been like leading you on to continue doing this. Again, it's like that, like you get a taste of it and you're like, the potential is there, but it's like never been realized, and it just continues being like that within this situation. So now I'm seeing you come to terms with things. And Eight of Cups and the Hermit, it's like, I know that I don't feel connected with this anymore. I know that it's like not really a fulfilling situation for me anymore, but I haven't said anything about it yet. I've just been keeping it to myself. King of Swords is encouragement for you to initiate a conversation that needs to be had, but do so once you've checked in emotionally and you've gotten to a place where you can carry this out in a grounded, centered sort of manner. King of Swords first means we need to say what we need to say here. We need to initiate that conversation or make that decision. King of Cups says do so in a balanced way. Do so in a way where you are responsible for your emotions and you let everybody else be responsible for their emotions. This also means feeling what you feel and not being swayed as well, because you've taken the time to really analyze and invest analysis in what's going on within your personal process here. What I'm getting is that there may be things within this situation that could be tempting reasons to stay within this, but it's other than you feeling emotionally fulfilled. And I feel like we can just leave it at that and we don't need to delve into that. It's normal for you to go through the spectrum of emotions, but don't allow that to confuse what you already know here. Sometimes we can have things pop up where it's like, wow, I'm really going to miss this, or like, I wish I had done that differently. You know, all those things that are associated with like nostalgia and looking back on the past, those things are going to come up. It's normal. Even when we're leaving a situation for something that we feel is more fitting for us or more aligned or more preferable for us, we still have these feelings come up for the most part, normally at some point. And so don't trip. Do not trick yourself into thinking or convince yourself or get confused that because like some good memories are popping up, oh, that must be a sign that I should actually go back and stay within this. Unless that's what you want to think, because you're free really to do whatever it is that you want to do here. But from everything that I'm seeing, it's that you know that this isn't working for you anymore. The potential has really kept you staying. Because of that little bitty bit of potential here, it may be something that it's still hard for you to let go of. And also, there may be some sort of like safety or security that you get staying within this relationship, even though it may not be feeling so relevant to you any longer. And also, there may be some things that would be tempting you to stay within this situation, but they are not connected with you feeling fulfilled emotionally and energetically and connected. So they would be reasons other than that. Because I'm seeing that's not something that's going to happen within this situation, which you are now coming to the conclusion of. And so it kind of leaves you with these two options. You can either recognize that and be like, this situation isn't going to be fulfilling for me, not in a way that I could be potentially fulfilled elsewhere, and I'm okay with that, and I'm still going to stay. For now or maybe for always, and that's okay. There's no judgment. If that's what you want to do, that's what you're deciding to do. You're staying for reasons other than feeling connected emotionally, truly, in a way that you know you could be, but that's what you want to do. Or you're going to look at this and be like, it's not going to be worth it for me if I can't have that, and so this isn't going to work for me. And I'm going to do what I need to do based off of that. It's a lot. Give yourself time to process through this. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm just looking at Capricorn and Virgo here. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.